So, I am making this video to debunk some most common firearm myths and to clarify on some legislations in firearms. The first point I would like to make is the Second Amendment. Now, a lot of people who are misinformed or just flat out hate guns and want to forward their own private agenda will point out the well-regulated militia part within the Second Amendment. However, there is a clause to the Second Amendment, and that clause is the following. It states the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. It does not mention the rights of the well-regulated militia to keep and bear arms. It says the rights of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Another few points I would like to talk about is the AR-15. AR does not stand for assault rifle. As a matter of fact, a class 2 semi-automatic AR-15 does not fit the parameters of the definition for the term assault rifle. Assault rifle means it has to have the capabilities of going full automatic. I'll explain that later. However, AR stands for Armalite rifle. Armalite being the company that makes ARs. Now, on clarification between semi-automatic and fully automatic, semi-automatic means if I take my finger and put in the trigger and I squeeze it and hold it down like so, then one bullet and only one bullet will come out if it's semi-automatic until I release the trigger and let the weapon reset. Now, if I take my finger and squeeze the trigger and hold it down on a fully automatic weapon, it will continue to fire until either I let go or the weapon runs out of ammunition. That's the difference between a fully automatic weapon and a semi-automatic weapon. Another thing I would like to bring up is how previous legislations have failed. And the ones I'm talking about are gun-free zones and magazine capacities. If you take a look at the most recent mass shootings or any shootings prior to that, or even the federal assault ban, I'll get to that later. But if you take a look at a vast majority of active shooters, or active mass shootings, I should say, a vast majority of them were committed on what's known as a gun-free zone. Meaning, if you take a gun into this zone and you're not security or law enforcement, you can be charged with a felony and arrested, and you can be arrested and charged and sentenced with a felony. And there's generally a sign, and it has a circle with a gun in it with a line going through it. And the only thing that really allows is for criminals to know who is armed and who is not armed, making it a really big soft target. Now, to the federal assault weapons ban of 1994. The reason why that failed is because there was one shooting that happened after that, which occurred in 1999, the Columbine school shooting. That occurred after that, so that bill really prevented nothing. Magazine capacities. California. There's a shooting that law will have never prevented. And a new legislation that's trying to do the same thing, which is Ohio Senate Bill 260. But back to the main point of California and their magazine capacity laws, because the shooting I'm about to mention is a YouTube headquarters. And that shooting in the state of California, you cannot legally own a weapon that holds 10 or more rounds. And this person took a weapon, a California compliant handgun chambered in 9mm, and went into a gun-free zone, because YouTube headquarters space is a gun-free zone. You can't bring a weapon into the building, and committed to shoot 3 people. And which brings me to another point. A lot of people like to compare the United States to the UK and Australia. Well, the UK has the highest amount of acid attacks, meaning people are literally taking acid and splashing it onto other people. Now, their intent, I truly believe, is not to kill, it's to severely maim and cause horrible memories for the person if they do survive down the road. And it also has the highest rate of stabbings, even despite actually having strict knife control. And a lot of people like to refer to Australia. Well, the thing about Australia is their violent crime rates were already at a steady decline before the mandatory buyback. And their population is far less than of the United States. And then, most recently, Australia relaxed their gun laws, so now people in Australia are legally allowed to purchase and own firearms. So the gun ownership in Australia is slowly but surely rising to what it used to be before the ban. Another country I would like to bring up is Switzerland. Back in, they have the most. They were number 3 in the most armed countries, and yet they had the lowest violent crime rates. They had lower crime rates than the US and the UK, and yet they were the 3rd most armed country. Now, another point I'd like to talk about is Class 3 weaponry, meaning if it's not within the ATF certain length, or if it's fully automatic, it is a Class 3 weapon. And to purchase a Class 3 weapon, you have to go through various different background checks. You have to pay for the ATF tax stamp, which can take anywhere up to 6 months to a year. And then you go on your own registry because of that. So it's extremely difficult to get and acquire and obtain a fully automatic weapon or a short-barreled, semi-automatic rifle or shotgun. Another point I would like to talk about is that one less movement where people were sawing the barrels off of their AR-15s. Well, I hate to tell you this, but those rifles are still functional. All those have managed to do is take a semi-automatic rifle and convert it, that was legal length, and convert it into a Class 3 short-barreled bolt-action rifle without the federal paperwork or background checks. And there was a congresswoman, I can't remember her name, but she actually posted a video of herself doing this online. Which brings me to my other point. There are anti-gun politicians out there, a vast majority of them, who have never purchased a firearm, never shot a firearm, and have a private security detail everywhere they go. And this majority of the time, the private security detail consists of law enforcement. So, and in some bills, it exempts law enforcement and only allows law enforcement to carry the types of weapons that they're proposing to ban. Which truly makes me think that these politicians want special privileges on how they should be able to protect themselves, and then turn around and tell the private, public, law-abiding citizens who officially pay their salaries and elect them into the positions that they are in, they like to turn around and tell, the politicians like to turn around and tell them how the law-abiding citizens should and should not be able to defend themselves. And another point it brings me to is there are some politicians that do own guns, but are anti-AR-15. Matter of fact, I was watching a video of a politician in Florida, I can't remember his name, who had mentioned that he grew up with guns, he did this with guns, that with guns, and he said he was an avid hunter. And he said the AR-15 is not meant for hunting, it's meant for killing. Well, I hate to tell anybody who says this, but the whole goal of hunting deer, pig, or any animal is to kill the animal. So pretty much that's any gun. Any gun is effective at that. Oh, and another point I would like to bring up that I forgot to mention, the caliber round for the AR-15. The 223 round and the bigger version of it, the 5.56 round. There are rounds that can shoot that have more, what's the term I'm looking for, more power to it. There are several rifles, handguns, shotguns of any kind that can do more damage than an AR-15 ever could. And yet you don't see them calling for a ban on that, because they truly, for two reasons. I had my pen in my hand, so it may look like I was saying three. So for two reasons, because they truly know nothing of firearms, and the second reason is they can't just come out and say, we want to ban all firearms. They generally try to say a Trojan horse by saying, we want to ban this type of firearm because it's most deadly. Then the next thing happens, oh, we need to ban this firearm because it's most deadly. That's where it comes into play. So, two reasons. One being that they truly know nothing about firearms. Second being, it's just a Trojan horse to ban all guns. Because at the end of the day, you're either pro-gun or you're all against guns. There's no in-between on this. That's just my little rant on firearms, firearms myths, and clarifications on firearms. Thank you. Have a good day.